Call this meeting to order at 6:31.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
All right.
Anyone here for public comments?
Thank you.
I guess we'll move into wastewater sewer connection. So we met with Simon.
Yeah.
And gave him to go ahead. Yeah, he looks like everything is set to go. Have you got a date from Ian? Ian gonna do the work?
Excuse me?
Is Ian doing the work or?
Yeah,
Yeah, has he given you a date when he's gonna start?
no, I know he said, sent out the emails to, Matt Loftus, Jacob Mayer and Eric Chase, right, development, so maybe we can hear back from that.
Okay. Have you got any questions for us or?
Well, I just, the question is, I mean, talk to Ian and he just thinks the way we're doing it, it's gonna end up being a big mess.
How so?
Well, it says, because if I hook on and I own the rest of that line up to, and somebody else wants to hook up beyond that.
That's not the way it works. The ordinance says that if you are responsible for hooking onto the line and presenting it to us as ready to, we have Simon, state inspector, and who's the third person? Ian. They have to agree that everything is as it was designed, set up, and then the town will take over the line from there. That's the way it's
So
written.
I do all the expense and then you just take it over.
Yes. That's the way it's written in the ordinance. If you wanna hook to the public sewer, that's the process.
But,
Well, I would agree if I was just going to a manhole and hooking my line into that, but when I've got to run it with under the federal up to there to put in another manhole, I mean, so then anybody just after me, after I spend $35,000-$40,000, if people can just hook onto it as they see fit. I have nothing to say about it.
That's not your, that's not your property. It's what you're doing by hooking onto the system is you're agreeing to this agreement.
Why can't I just just run a line down through and hook into the manholes down there instead of?
is the line that John's putting in only designed for his house? So if anyone else wanted that, they need a bigger capacity?
The line under the street has to be the
Okay.
municipal sewer line. And this is all written out in the sewer ordinance, how to connect. What you own is from your house to the line in the street. But you don't own from where that connection is down to the manhole. That is,
Well, everybody else on that road didn't have to pay for the sewer to come to their house, and then all they did is hook on.
they were all, the sewer was there already. The sewer was there already. Yes,
So the reason that it works that way is because the sewer system is what we call an enterprise function. So the users of the sewer system pay for all the costs associated with the sewer system. So those houses that are connected to the sewer main currently have absolutely paid the cost to have that sewer line put in underground. And they are not going to bear the cost for another user to connect. So the reason that you put the line in and what's under the street becomes town property is the same reason why the town doesn't pay someone to put in a septic system. There's just not a mechanism for the users of the system to do that.
Yeah, but if it had been put in the way it was supposed to be in the first place, just because you ran out of money, it would have been gone by my place anyway, and all I had to have done to click in. It was a town's choice not to.
And you would have paid an impact fee
Oh.
with that connection.
I'm
That
sure
would have,
it was within $40,000.
but
That's probably true. The other-
Wait, did you say 40,000?
Well, that's what I haven't got any estimates yet, but that.
About
Yeah,
that.
I've been told 35, 40,000. It's already cost me 16,000. Cause I've got Ian's, engineering fees, I've got. The pumping of the septic, plus I personally. Chose not to rent the upstairs because of the problem, and I've lost rent for pretty near a year, and $950
You can't rent a house with a failed septic. That's, I mean, that's,
It's still coming out of my pocket. I'm retired. I don't have an endless amount of money.
well, there is a,
No, but no one is, right? Like no one has that money.
I think one of the things too, John, is that if you were to own that for a period of time, this is just me thinking that if there was ever a problem, you own the problem too. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think anybody wants you to own the problem either. I can see where it's a gray area, but it's really clearly spelled out in one paragraph. Just,
Well, Ian as an engineer, why is he concerned about? Thinking that it may create a problem down the road? I mean, yeah, supposedly he sent you folks an email, probably the same one he sent me.
well, we asked Simon when he was here on Monday. If the line was a municipal line or a private line, and he said it's spec to be a municipal line, so that's not. It's not like you're running the 4-inch pipe all the way to the manhole, you're hooking on to. And you're connecting,
I'm hooking on because I'm building it to there.
right, you are, and that's the requirement,
It says, such a connection shall be at the owner's expense in accordance with the provisions of this ordinance. And within 90 days after the date of the official notice to do so. In the case where. So, I mean, it's.
It just doesn't seem very fair to me, but.
Not. No one here was on the select board when they ran out of money, and I don't know how long ago that was. Do you remember how long? ago?
No, I don't.
I don't. But it might have been 40 years. 30 years, but regardless, anybody like South Street has a bunch of septics that are in varying degrees of failure, and there are people paying 60 just to have their own rebuilt. I mean, it's an issue with all of these properties being repurposed from what their original intent was to be a single family home or something. Now we're adding all the stress to a septic because we've been able to because we have a college town and we can make some extra income. So I understand it's a bit of a gray area, but it's pretty much spelled out. And I think that's what we have to go by. I understand that it might not seem fair. So. Any other comments?
I don't know if you put in your own septics, if it's gonna run a lot of money, from my experience up on the terrace. It's costing me upwards to
John,
$50,000.
I've been in construction all my life, I'm very well aware of it,
Yeah,
but it
Yeah.
just doesn't seem
yeah,
that I should have to build this line and then. If 3 months later, the town take it over and then the apartment building across from me, which I understand is having sewer problems too, but I don't know for sure, but I've heard rumors. That they wait for me to put it in and then they hook onto it, so
Yeah.
Yeah, that does not sound fair.
it doesn't sound fair.
Um. You're right, doesn't.
Yeah.
I have, when I first got wind of this and I became the health officer, I went and looked at that apartment building because I thought that that was the one in question. It was yours that was in question. I didn't find anything on that property to lead me to believe that that system was failing. So I walked that property twice pretty thoroughly and looked at pretty much everything I could look at. But they did say, I don't think it's here, I think it's across the street, and it was yours, so. I don't know if that's truth or not, but.
No, I understand that there's a piece of property that's been sold above me, just because nobody's living in it yet, but that system isn't,
Right,
that system has failed too.
oh, I don't know anything about that.
You mean the little brown house on the corner?
I don't know, I just.
Well, a new septic just went in right up above that apartment, your apartment, right up above it. They put in a new
And,
septic.
yeah, I know someone else is in the process of doing the same. And it's well north of $35,000. It was 60 to start.
And they were saying that the South Street houses would not be able to connect anyway because they're lower.
Right, it needed a pump
And
station,
you'd have a
Pump
pump
station.
station, which
Yeah.
which is, extreme.
Anyway, it was designed to, originally to be put there,
Right.
that's what I have a problem with. Just because they ran out of money, they decided on my street to stop building.
Right. Did you when did you buy, like 2002?
I'd have to, it's been 18, 19 years ago, looking at.
Well. I think we're gonna stick with what the letter of the ordinance says for now. And,
No, who wouldn't? And if you could get it done and take it over and not cost you anything,
Right.
it'd be really stupid for you not to. So,
well. You don't have any hard and fast numbers right now?
no, as I said, I don't have a computer, I'm not on the internet or anything, so he's emailed those 3 contractors that I said about, so. And he's had Ian's at a meeting in Barnet tonight, so.
Right. He let us know. All right, well. I don't know if we can help you anymore, right? This minute.
Help me anymore, you haven't helped me.
I'm
not trying to be a.
no, I get it, no worries.
I can see it from your perspective a little bit. I mean, I can see it from the town's perspective, because I can't picture asking townspeople to pay money for an add-on like that, just because there was a mess up 4 years ago, but
Well,
I can see a little bit of your side.
but through taxes and everything, I've been paying all these years for hooking those people on and getting no results out of it.
No, because it's separate from,
No.
it's
The
a
water
it's
district.
the water district.
Yeah, you might not like when you see your bills.
Yeah, I just got mine for the first time, it's fun.
It's approaching property taxes. what, hooking onto the water.
I mean, but the good news is, you said yourself you wanna sell, so like now you're gonna be hooked onto this municipal system and. That right there is gonna be that's gonna be right, to be able to sell with that
Yeah.
on it is gonna be a benefit to.
Oh, it's gonna be a benefit, yeah,
You can get your money back, is what I'm saying, you could get your money back.
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna get my lost revenue for choosing not to rent the upstairs or anything and stuff like that. I'll never retrieve any of that back. I don't believe I can't. You know, I said, I'm not trying to be difficult, but it's just, as I said, I'm retired and it's a lot of money for somebody on
Fixed
a
income.
fixed income, so.
All right, if anybody knows if there's money available somehow through whatever, it'd be Ian, because he does this stuff all the time.
He said that, see how this goes, he said he's gonna look into, there is 2 or 3 different grants and stuff out there.
I can tell you that I looked into them and they're super hard to get. They're
Well,
like,
he said if I lived there, it would probably be no problem.
you're absolutely right, that changes the game. But being a second, second home, it's viewed totally differently.
You can move into the apartment upstairs.
No.
There's still an apartment house, that doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Unless I'm getting too old to go up and downstairs.
I get that part. All right, well, I don't think we can help you at this moment. And I'm sorry for that.
Have to go with the plan that's been presented, you know.
I've got the builder's ear, so you gotta speak up.
I said, we have to go with the plan that has been agreed on. That's what's approved, that's what everything is all pointing to that plan, so. Unless you have any other, I don't see any other option.
I don't right now.
Well, I guess there's nothing more to be said then.
I wish you luck, I wish you luck getting a contractor right now, because I know those guys very well.
I gotta find out whether I've gotta secure the financing too, so.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And that may not be the easiest thing in the world, other than there is no mortgage on the place, so. Good night.
All right.
I do have a check for you.
Thank you very much.
And could you just mark on, is that okay? Please. Thank you.
Parking signs.
Oh, I guess that would be me. So I've been talking with Loretta
Lane,
and
do you mind coming out to the table, because the owl won't be able to hear you?
And then, yeah,
Sorry.
then the paper can't record all your words, put you in the paper. Yeah.
I'll,
She'll be in the hall.
Okay, tell them right my answers.
I just didn't want to.
Infect
honestly,
us?
No, I don't want you to infect me.
Oh, okay.
Even if you wanna sit like
Oh,
right
I
there,
can
just so
wear a
you're
mask,
closer, that
too.
would be better, that's all.
I don't know, I don't wanna announce this.
Yeah.
I have a family member who is immune
Oh,
compromised.
okay.
Oh,
And so I try really hard to
Yeah, I can put on a mask.
not get too close to anyone.
I apologize, I don't have.
I don't know,
So what
I'm farmed. So, Loretta and I have been chatting about the concern about ticketing and towing on the section of Chelsea Street in front of the law school and on the opposite side where the red brick house is right on the
Yeah.
corner. So on the bookstore side, there are no postings anywhere. It doesn't say 2-hour parking, does not say no overnight parking. There's nothing there. Further down by Theron's house and towards the bridge, there are 2 signs that say no parking, but the road is really narrow. So, our concern is people not knowing that it is only 2-hour parking and not knowing that they can't park there overnight because it's not posted. And the opposite side of the street, it does say 2-hour parking, but it doesn't say anything about no overnight. And our concern is if we tow, yes, there is the ordinance, so someone looks up the ordinance and is not totally confused by the descriptions of where everything is, they would understand that there is no overnight parking on those streets and that both sides are 2-hour parking. But in my opinion, which I don't know how much that accounts for, but it should be posted. And one side of the street, the 2-hour parking sign posts are already there. All you have to do is affix no overnight parking signs. And then the other side of the street. I expect you're gonna get some pushback if I ever tell anybody on either side of those that it's not posted, but you can always rely on the ordinance, and the fact that they didn't pick it up is, I guess, on them, but
Can I ask you a question?
sure.
Do you think at some point there's like sign overload? Like you see no parking, this, that, you know, I think sometimes it's like a bit overwhelming to see too much. Like it'd be nice to know the right balance of having,
Well, I
No
think
signage and
no
too much.
signs is
not good.
not
Not
good.
good.
Not good because if you tow people, they're gonna give you pushback, why isn't it posted? If you ticket for 2-hour parking, same thing, you're gonna get pushback saying, well, every other place in town where there's only 2-hour parking, you have posted signs. But not in that one section.
Okay,
Well, it should be a clear message, and maybe the signs that are there are adding to the problem. Maybe we need to just, you know, re-sign the whole area to be a consistent message.
I don't think you have to re-sign everything. Around the green, it says no overnight, it says 2-hour parking. It's just that one little section of both sides of the street. One has no signage and the other only has 2-hour warning.
Let's get some more.
How many
signs.
signs do you think we're talking about?
On the bookstore side, you're talking about 2 signposts. And either a combination sign that says no overnight and 2-hour.
Yeah.
Or 2 separate ones, however you want to look at it. The 2-hour ones are already on the other side of the street. So all you have to do is add a no overnight parking.
What happened to the signs that were there that Demi took down?
They're probably at the town garage with all the other signs.
So we
So
have the
you may
signs.
have the signs.
We may
they
have the
just
signs,
need
we
to
just
be
need the
put down.
posts.
okay.
And who is it? Walter should put them up or Demi?
I don't think Walter feels it falls to him,
Mm-hmm.
so. We can have Demi's crew put them up.
Demi's crew.
Maybe with your,
Supervision.
yeah, or. you know,
Assistants.
Well,
direction.
it's pretty cut and dry. The ordinance says from the corner of North Windsor Street down to where it says no parking on the bookstore side. That's, you know, what, half a dozen little spots,
Yeah.
but there's nothing there. And then on the other side, there's already 2 signposts.
All right,
They just gotta add the no overnight.
And the line's been painted out and the ADA parking has been blocked out. So
Well,
that's in front of the bookstore.
and there is someone who has been parking there that has a handicap placard
Good,
in the handicap spot.
good.
I haven't found them there overnight yet,
Mhm.
but even if they have a handicap spot, they can park there all
Yeah.
day, doesn't make any difference. But they still can't park overnight.
No.
And Loretta and I looked up that in the statutes, so.
And I really think that once the snow flies have been.
Yeah.
The big issues, right? I mean,
So.
because
if
that's
we
why
could
there's
do
no
it-
overnight parking.
If
Yeah,
we
so
could
we
do
can
it
clear the street.
before snow,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's, to me, that's sort of the,
fortunately, I've never had to tow anybody off either of those in the winter, but. Doesn't mean it's not gonna happen. I mean, I keep putting little notices out, warnings, no overnight, 2 hour. But it keeps saying the same people parking in that side that doesn't have any signage. They ignore my warnings, so.
Down by Cameron Way, there's folks who have parking in their apartments, but still park on the street all year round. And at one point, their cars were completely plowed in,
Right on the sidewalk,
right on the sidewalk.
Cameron, where's that?
There's
North Windsor Street.
There is no sidewalk there where they are.
It's a gravel
It's
sidewalk.
just grass.
right,
And they technically are in probably the right of way.
they are.
Well, there's a broken down sidewalk right there
There is,
that they, yeah,
Well, it's a gravel one.
yeah, I don't think there's any concrete.
I thought there was,
No, I don't think there is. I walk out every Sunday.
Yeah, I don't think there is.
I was
Um,
wondering, like, have we ever just given them a little sign saying no parking on the street?
You can put, you're the select board.
You
can
know
put
what?
Signs up
Yeah.
anywhere you choose.
have we ever, not we as in we, but the town ever thought about meters? Like in certain spots?
Ugh.
Is that, what
I
would,
think
what,
that is pretty expensive.
to install meters?
Yeah.
It costs more than they're worth.
They're worth, yeah.
And as far as that little section in front of that one apartment building. I think a good way to address that is first reach out to the landlord and say, your tenants are
Tenants,
parking in the right of way. But if you're going to enforce that one, and I know I'm a bit of a stickler. As far as if you were going to enforce that one section of their parking in the town right away, you have to do it. to The
Yeah.
rescue squad on the other end of town. In all fairness, you can't say these people can't do it.
Right.
But, oh,
These
these
people
people
can.
can, because they are as much in the right of way. As those cars up on the Windsor Street, and there's somebody, I don't know if they're still here, did they graduate? That. Can't even think of the name of the street, not the one directly behind the block, but the next one over.
North Street.
There's. Pretty consistently a car there in the winter parked in the right.
Mhm.
So you're gonna have to, If you're gonna enforce it on one, you should
Yep,
enforce
okay.
it on all.
No, that's a good point.
Should we send a note to Shirley at the law school for her to send out a blast warning students about no overnight parking? Or
Oh,
I
that's a
walk,
good
I
idea.
can walk up and see her. 'cause I see her all the
There
time.
in October, there's a landlord tenant.
Yeah,
And we're
Meeting?
supposed to talk.
we're supposed to go to,
And
yeah,
Loretta, yeah.
So
Loretta's
we can
there.
tell them then.
yeah.
And it's good because the landlord will be there to hear it. It was well attended in the past.
Yeah,
Last year it was,
Okay, thank you.
and that's all I got. Just, help me out, get the sign up and.
we
And-
will
So we're gonna look
contact
at
Demi.
and see if we have the signs, and if we don't have the signs, we should
Order them.
get
Order
some.
them.
And on the bookstore side, there are not even any signposts anymore. They might have been years ago, but those are gone. I just looked on my way down.
Mhm.
There aren't any signposts there either, so we'll have to not just put signs up.
So no overnight parking, that's the one you want.
on both sides of the street, and on the bookstore side, the outgoing is 2 hour parking, because that's what the ordinance calls for, 2 hours, and that's all up and down both sides of the street there. You'll get fewer calls when I start putting tickets on the cars. Loretta will get fewer
Yeah,
indignant, angry, calls. And both of us, Loretta and I chatted about, should that one handicap vehicle, if I ever do see him there overnight, she suggested I just write a nice little note saying, you know, yes, handicap, you can park here. You don't have to, follow the limits in parking, but you still can't park if there's a ban.
Yeah.
And there will be one.
Yeah.
There is one. And you need to speak to your landlord about
The options.
options where you can park.
okay,
So that's how we're gonna handle that one, should it come up. Theron Manning also stopped me on the street and said, he would like to see the signs go up because people are actually block his driveway sometimes. And he can get out of his driveway, because
you mean Darren stopped you in the street to talk to you? No way. I've
Theron,
spent an hour and a half conversations with him.
To and from post office.
when I first moved here, Theron was my landlord.
Oh, nice. I heard he's very good.
He's a good landlord.
He's a great landlord, and when Mark and I started being landlords, we went to Theron and Madeline for advice and guidance,
Oh, nice.
and they were happy to give it.
Well, thank you.
So if you guys can help me out with that, because I'm ramping up the warnings. And then shortly the tickets will come to those people who keep ignoring my
Mhm.
warnings.
All right.
Okay.
We'll do.
Thanks.
All right, thank you very much.
Can you give us a heads up when you're gonna start ticketing?
Probably by the end of this month.
Okay.
I have to train the new, just like I have to train my tenants, I have to train those new other tenants.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Stay healthy.
Yeah.
Thank you. You all too. Thanks.
Highway department.
My first landlord when I moved here was Bushra.
Bridge Street decking.
What are we gonna do about that?
Okay, so, they were closed when I got home today. We've been a little bit back and forth with Victoria, but. I have the quantity and V-Trans. Made a suggestion on how to do it and, adding a product. So I hope to have, the numbers by, I'm less concerned with the numbers than I am, getting somebody to do it or us to do it, so. But, I talked to a bridge engineer who recommended a place up in, a Walcott. Just give me 1 second. Who have the, P&R in Walcott, Vermont. They stock tamarack. Also larch, same, and, they use it on a lot of bridge decking, and that was the recommendation. I would like to, the one thing I would like to do, if possible, is to treat it before we put it on, either with linseed oil or Thompson's. So we're not doing this, every 4 years.
Yeah.
It's gonna be better if we put it down when it's not frozen. So,
Mhm.
I will, I'll get that tomorrow. I'll get that information tomorrow. And,
Do you think the road crew can do it or?
they did it the last time and,
It looked good to start, right?
it looked good to start. It was frozen, which is gonna be fraught with problems because it's like screwing down an ice cube, it just cracks and is brittle. So if we can do it and, the stuff is, I'm not saying it's dry, but it's a little bit more seasoned. and it's not frozen, it's gonna go down, and the fasteners won't cause almost as much damage as the good, so. It's coming out of the, it's gonna come out of the highway budget, correct?
Would the highway improvement preserve potentially?
So, I don't know if we need approval for this, but if we can secure the materials and the method. Do we need to meet to agree to do it?
Can we give you the permission right now to just
You
go
could.
forward?
I think if Victoria and I work together,
If the road crew is going to do it, yes. If you would like a contractor, you should get 3 quotes
Yeah.
and we should review their insurance.
yeah, review their insurance for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the road crew should do it.
Yeah, yeah.
If they have time before winter comes.
I was gonna say, what kind of time commitment is it?
It's,
It took
I
the
think
day.
last time it was a couple of.
yeah,
days.
I would
Like a
at
day's
least
worth.
allow a couple days.
David,
Plus,
take
you
it up,
know, we don't have a bridge up there, so some warning would be helpful.
yeah,
And they have to paint each piece with the treatment or whatever. and
In
dry
an
it.
ideal world, I don't think it needs to even dry. Yes,
Okay,
we are gonna put down a product, some ice and water shield, which is, what did I say, about $200 a roll. So it's a little costly, but it's a V-Trans recommendation. And, they know what can go over a body of water.
right.
They the state put creosote on it, which nobody else can
No.
do. So, long story short is, this rose to like this level, so. I will call them at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning with the quantity and see how quick we could get it here.
Good,
cause it's September 11th now.
Right, it's gonna take, yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
nice to have done in
Well,
October,
and Demi has ditching that has to be finished by the end of this month.
right, so.
So
Let me
beginning
check-
of October.
Let me check in with Debbie and make sure he's got it. If he's got time, then they can do it. Otherwise, I think we're gonna be hard pressed to find a contractor.
Right now, yeah.
absolutely, I mean, if we wanted to get it done before winter, we are.
But. I mean, a 2-day job. I think we could get it done. So,
Could you just repeat what you said, what your plan is? You're going to do another hemlock?
no, different type of wood.
Okay.
He said
And-
tamarack.
Say tamarack?
Tamarack.
And or large, it's called the
Yeah.
same thing. And it would be a different application. A slightly different application, and that we're gonna go with some V-Trans Vermont Agency of Transportation recommendations. The last time we put it down pretty quickly and it was frozen solid, it didn't do well, obviously. I would like not to revisit, whoever's on the select board in 4 years, not to have to do this again, so. And I would allow 2 days and make sure that we put notice out well in advance that the work's gonna be done because, people can still pass by. But it'll probably be even rougher than it is right now, but the other bridge is out, so a little bit more concerned.
And did I hear you say something about linseed oil?
Possibly, I wanna see what's best. I haven't asked that. I have treated things in the past with linseed oil to try to get like 4 more years out of them. Or Thompson's or whatever. But it's pretty time consuming and you go through a ton of it.
And that won't mean stuff dripping into the soil and whatnot.
No, I mean, try to use something that's natural.
And you'll have the bitches hang under it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I would do that on sawhorses and then feed it onto the bridge.
yeah.
But
Thank you. I just didn't hear quite clearly.
is that what you're here for?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
wanted to hear the discussion.
Oh, yeah. Well, hopefully tomorrow. I mean. If we don't need a decision, and if you're comfortable with, going forward with, Victoria and I communicating back and forth, it'd be great.
I am.
Okay,
Can we make them?
if it comes in at. Oh,
Oh, no, I was just gonna ask
It
by
did-
motion, yeah. Or do we just?
No, I don't
say
think
it?
it-
It's in the budget.
Yeah,
It would be lovely to have a motion that we
Okay.
could, pay for those materials from the highway improvement reserve.
Okay,
Ah,
and labor?
No, because the labor's already in the highway budget.
Okay.
I mean, unless they were spending overtime that they wouldn't have.
No,
spent
no,
ordinarily.
I'm just asking.
You got that motion?
I'll make the motion.
A second,
I'll second that.
all those in favor of motion to.
Use the highway.
Use a higher reserve, yeah.
Reserve, yeah. Say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I sound it. Line painting,
Again. We reached out to the people who did it last time. I think we made it clear that we had a couple issues with some of the line painting, but. Bottom line is they can do it this year. I'm in favor of going with them. I don't know if that means we need to get another street sweep. But,
Yeah, probably you don't want to paint over the crap and dirt that's piled up.
but.
How much did it cost last time?
$8,900, and this is 10, so it's gone up $1,100.
Yeah, but they
Except
also,
very-
I had highlighted now, cause what they asked for is an aerial picture with highlighted areas, and I had highlighted things like the school's crosswalk, because I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if they
Yeah,
painted
yeah,
that or if we needed to. So when they bill, they actually bill by linear foot,
Yeah,
depending on
Oh,
whether
oh, I
it's like a
see.
crosswalk or stall
so
lines
you
and
kind
that
of
sort of
over
thing.
budgeted or.
Yeah,
whatever.
so it's an estimate based on.
Yeah.
Their overhead view, it's not an actual, they're gonna bill us that no matter what.
So,
Can we have Walter make sure that they get the line straight?
I mean, if we wanna have Walter check in with them, I think
Yeah.
that's good. But I'm in favor of, I would make a motion to get this company.
Get it going,
scheduled.
yeah. I
Cause
will,
I think not having it exposes you to risk.
oh yeah, I will second your motion.
all those in favor of the motion,
Any discussion?
I was just wondering how long that paint was, how long
You gotta do it
they
every
guarantee
year.
that paint.
Evidently not a year.
About once a year.
It gets plowed
Once a year.
right off as soon as.
Yeah,
it
that's,
snows, so.
so that's,
And
I
it's,
think they come up with something smart.
and I don't know who squawked or did whatever, but I was amazed at how fast this intersection.
My house, yeah, yeah.
But that was V-Trans, they did their own, so,
Well, 8 guys doing it.
yeah.
I saw.
And they were all
Walter
standing in the middle of the road at the same
and
time.
They were really supporting each other,
Yeah,
On their phones,
really working hard there.
anyways,
Okay, I was just wondering,
and if
once a
that-
year, huh, 10,000.
and if anybody would like to do it a different way, we should talk about it sooner than. Because we should have it done by VLS's graduation.
Yeah.
VLGS.
Oh, you mean, so we're not even looking till spring to get
No,
that done?
we're
No.
gonna do it now,
Oh, okay,
but we should,
on a regular basis, every year.
Yeah.
Talk about,
we used to do it ourselves, it's, with mixed results,
Mhm.
so if it's coming out of the same budget, like. I'm okay. And that could be a longer discussion sometime.
does this include the crosswalk by Eaton House at the law school?
Yes,
Good,
You mean the one at the top of the hill too, New Street?
yeah.
yes, even though there's nowhere for that crosswalk to land.
Don't.
And it kind of ends up in the middle of the intersection.
Um,
No,
okay. Have a motion that was seconded.
All those in favor?
Okay.
Anything else? Highway,
Not off the top of my head,
I have one.
okay,
I signed the grant agreement for the V-Trans emergency grant funding for the Broadbrook Bridge abutment.
Yay.
So V-Trans will pay 90% of
Nice.
the total costs, and we're responsible.
Let's go
for
back to the table. Only 198.
And Daniels is working, and they're prepared to be done by Thanksgiving, so.
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Wow. Good for you. The only thing I can do on highway is I'm gonna sit down with the crew. And go over, what we discussed about goals and stuff. It's not gonna be till after this week, so. But I will sit down, I'm gonna ask Demi to sit down with the entire crew so they can hear some feedback.
Oh, I did hear some public comment about the roads not being, not that they're wide. It's that they go from wide to narrow to wide to narrow.
I haven't heard that one.
It's
I
like-
apologize.
Well, I had heard they're getting getting wider and wider all the time.
Yeah.
And people are complaining about that, but I had not heard this one either, but it's a good point. It's like, if you're driving along and the road is changing width, it's kind of.
It's a passing lane, it's called a passing lane.
Yeah, it's called a speed
Or
up
turning
lane.
lane, depends on where you are. Yeah.
I guess since we're on highway, whatever happened last week with, the English Road, did we ever?
I went up and looked at it and, this is, we didn't go together.
No,
So, the material that was put on there, the road looked great. The material that was on there is not hardback,
No,
but it's gravel. It's not dirt. It had fines, it had larger aggregate, it wasn't,
and it's not like the boulders that
No.
were on there before.
no. I did not see any of those. But I don't know how long it had been done. I don't think it was more than 2 weeks, and it looked to me like it was in great shape. But it is a different color. It is brownish. And most of the area above it is hard pack, which was kind of a FEMA fix.
That's Rough Hill Road, yeah.
Russville, and then there's a road past the one in question, that also had bigger pieces of, hard pack in it, but English Road and specifically, I drove and spent 10 minutes up there, and I think it's fine. I personally think it's fine. And I'll be happy to talk to the person who complained. When we do our write around,
yeah,
can we do that next week?
yeah. I got caught up with some other stuff at the Reddit this last week. So
Weird.
it took up a bit of time.
Alright, yeah, no, next week is more free.
Yeah, no, that's good for me.
Thursday's the only day, I can't go. Weeks that have a select board meeting, I usually only have one open day, one open evening, so.
So
we can do,
next week. would
yeah,
be-
next week would be great.
Okay.
Okay, we don't have John here for the transfer station yet, so,
I don't know
If
if
he's
John is gonna be able to make it or is planning on making it.
okay.
He was just looking for approval.
What the issue is he says that he's not, it's not that he wants to hire somebody part-time, it's that he wants, occasionally he needs somebody per diem. And
Oh,
he knows, I said, well, if you're hiring somebody full-time, that really needs approval, but to me, I don't see how that would be much of a problem if as long as he's,
does he have the money for it? Is it?
It is in his budget, but the select board is the one with all the hiring authority, regardless of who it is. That's why it comes onto your agenda.
Sure. That's why we get the big bucks.
Exactly.
so, so we still need to approve him.
Yes.
I would say if it's in his budget and he feels the need, he should do it. Because
That's my feeling.
it's,
And
it's,
it used to
it's
be
being
sloppy.
run well.
And it used to be sloppy in the past. They
Yeah.
used to get select board members from Bethel and Royalton to press the red button and
Yeah.
work the floor when they were short.
Think the other down
Not doing that.
You change the color of the button.
I can press it both.
Not well.
Okay, well, he says it's probably not gonna happen again this year, because it's just very infrequently
Yeah.
that he needs that, so.
Well, should
I'll let
we?
him know.
But
should
wait,
we-
wait a minute.
Could
what
we
about the
still,
Sorry,
no, go ahead.
I mean, insurance wise, we had all these issues with having insurance for people who work for the town. Would that be different if it's just a per diem thing? I mean, that
Well,
sounds like a hassle,
It's
right?
like a part-time thing, I mean, you don't pay health insurance for part-timers. do you?
Okay, okay, I just didn't know.
It's on a prorated basis based on the number of hours worked. So somebody who's just gonna be an all around and fill in at the transfer station as needed. It's, the same discussion we were having with Walter about having a full-time buildings and grounds person who could be that, oh, we need somebody at the transfer station type of person. But no, they would not be eligible for full benefits as someone who's working on an as needed basis, but they're still an employee of the town.
Well, anyway, I think it looks like he still needs to get approval, and so we'll work with that, bring him in for,
So do we want to give him approval or do we want to wait?
this is a, it's already happened thing.
Okay. Better to ask forgiveness and permission, thanks.
Well, it was like, I know it's not gonna happen again for this, to the youth burn of,
But if it's an
Doesn't
emergency, I think he should be able to do it. He's running a good operation.
well, he can email us and say he needs part-time help or per diem help. I guess that would work.
Did
Yeah.
we set the rate?
Technically you do, set everyone's rate, yes?
I think we need a little bit more info.
Yeah. Because I'm happy with giving him that blanket ability if we have the information, so we can just put up the guardrails, so to speak.
Okay, so we'll see him.
Yeah.
Next time we see
Yeah, if he
him,
doesn't need it right away, then we can just,
I believe he does.
well, need the person right away. I thought he said it was something that already happened.
that's not what, yeah, like I said, it's not gonna happen again this year.
But if it has already occurred.
What did he pay? What did he-
select board approval.
What did he pay that person, do you know?
I do not.
Or is it on the orders this
I'm
week?
gonna ask them.
Sure, just,
What do you?
In your paperwork that you have,
Thanks, Rita.
Thanks, Rita.
Is he on it? Do you remember?
yes,
You remember how much?
18,
18 an hour?
yes.
That sounds reasonable.
Boy,
Yeah.
you can hire someone for $18, lucky.
I'm all in.
Yeah. Is that a motion?
Yes. I give John permission to hire someone per
Okay,
diem.
he's saying it was. You would only need the per diem person one day this year, which would be this Saturday, which was,
Last Saturday.
that was last Saturday, yeah.
There was a motion, right? I'll second that motion.
And it's for hazardous waste day at Rochester.
oh, okay.
I said under those circumstances, it sounds like one day is covered, but you ought to come into the meeting to get approval after.
Well, it's already happened and we signed the orders.
We did sign the orders.
And he says he'll never need this person, he'll never need a full timer to do this, so. I think we revisit it next time it comes up.
Can we do that?
We just,
I say we. make
you
a
want the motion to.
Make a motion to pay it.
I think we have to have it more formal. I think that should give John the ability to hire somebody per diem when needed for $18 an hour.
I agree. Oh,
As long as it fits in his budget.
as long as
Yeah.
it fits in his budget.
And I think, you know, John is running as small of a crew as he can, which is great, and it's the most efficient way to run the business. But I think you will also potentially have times where multiple people might wanna take a vacation. or
Right.
Multiple people are
Yeah.
out sick.
If someone's
Right.
sick,
So
you may need
there's a lot
somebody.
of scenarios where it would be good to have a per diem person who's on payroll that you could call and say, hey, can you come in?
Hey,
And let him cultivate that.
yeah.
All right, that was my motion.
I second it.
All those in favor?
I,
Loose.
also, when you hire somebody, you can make sure that button pushing ability is in that job description.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
won't hire anybody over, you know, it's got a lot of great.
Oh, wow.
wow,
He went, that was
All
zero,
the way.
right
zero to
there.
80.
like
Right, he knows how to push buttons.
0 to 90,
Yeah.
man. I'm just gonna sit here and cry a little on the inside.
So you wanna be next, Walter?
Yes. You know, back with me.
We don't have a health officer here.
Yeah. Hi,
You're back.
I'm back. Yeah, it's been a minute. This is just basically a printed out version of what I sent earlier today to all of you, but I figure it might be helpful to look at. So hi, yeah, it's been a little over a year since you have copyright.
Yes.
It's been a little over a year since I was here last to talk about the municipal energy resilience program, and it's finally showtime for it to apply for the actual implementation grants of $500,000 each. Basically, so I don't know if all you were here the last time I was here, but basically the program is a state program funded with ARPA money. The way it works is that they funded a round of energy audits of public buildings around the state. That took place, I believe yours were back in November, December of last year, the site visits were, and then they provided the reports sometime in spring. And since then, it's been just kind of a waiting game until these implementation grants open, and they finally have. They're due on September 20th. Basically, they are grants of up to $500,000 per town. There's zero match requirement up to that amount. And the way it works is I can apply for you, so I have formula funding from the state to apply on your behalf. I just kind of need the thumbs up on the scope of work that you have in front of you, and I'm happy to go ahead and do that. Basically, Walter and I have combed through the energy audits for both of the buildings that you had audited, which were the town garage and the academy building. And we picked out all of the recommendations and some additional work that was also identified in that report that did not have cost estimates attached to it. So if they noticed, you know, certain things, but didn't have a good sense of what they would cost, we can potentially also apply for that. I don't know if those things will necessarily be funded. One important thing to know about how this is working is that towns that have what's called a high energy burden designation, which includes Royalton, get kind of the first bite at the apple of this money. So your starting odds are very good for getting funded through this program. Again, I can't make any guarantees about whether or not you'll get it, or whether certain additional things will be funded that may or may not be really beyond the exact scope of this grant.
What's a high energy what?
High energy burden, so yeah, part of the sort of rationale behind the state law that developed this program was that they wanted to prioritize towns that had what's called this high energy burden. And basically it's a metric of how much money your residents spend on energy as a percentage of household income. Obviously, it doesn't necessarily translate to what the town's finances are and what the state of your public buildings are,
So
so
it's a
it's a
separate-
residential
yeah,
statistic.
Okay.
But they felt that that was the best statistic they had to work with. But in any case, Royalton was one of these towns in the highest category in the 2019 numbers. So you get the first bite at this money. It's a total pot of $36 million.
Do you know what the percentage is that we're, the energy burden?
And the percentage, I think to be high burden, you have to be above 11 or 12%. So your residents are spending about 12% of their income on energy. So then that would be including electric, heating and transportation fuel. I can send you a copy of that report if you want. It's from Efficiency Vermont a few years ago. The numbers have actually changed since 2019, but the statute requires that we use the 2019 numbers, and that plays to your advantage actually, so. Yeah, so that's it really. I mean, really a lot of this stuff is really just no-brainer measures, weatherization, air sealing, that type of stuff, insulation. Especially given that it's free money. I mean, the return on investment is very, very high. Do you want to talk specifics, Walter, or do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I just know it's on the list here, but it's a couple of things that I just want to point out. The Academy Building boiler is, was put in 1992, so it's on its life, so it's a good time to replace it. The boiler stay at the garage is the same way. Garage is not well insulated. It will be well insulated, and I think those are two improvements that we can do. And also, we're going to get some charge electric backup to the garage, which we need too. So, which they talked about. So I think those are good projects, and hopefully the garage doors can be funded too with this project too, which need to be replaced.
So the backup, that's the 13.5 kilowatt hour
Yeah.
battery storage units.
Yeah.
So that means the garage could function
During the storm.
during a storm in event of a outage.
Right, and they've had some issues with that before,
Okay,
so I think it's a good thing to do that, so, very good thing.
They don't need a generator, it's a,
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
For a given amount of time. And power usage, yeah.
what about the Academy building? Does that have a-
Area,
We generate.
because that's a
Yeah.
emergency shelter,
Right.
yeah, we
Right.
could have done this, but I was trying to use the money the best way I could. And that's why I was trying to work into it, so we could spend it, so we moved the stuff around a little bit, so,
Is it intentional to come in under $500,000?
yes.
Correct, yeah. Because if you go over $500,000, then that's out of your own pocket, potentially. Like I said, I can't be sure, so, I mean, for certain things, we applied the Academy, or we are proposing applying the Academy building to get a new gas boiler and a new air to water heat pump. The purpose of this program is in part resilience, so making you more resilient to emergencies and things like that, but also climate and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So they're really pushing heat pumps and stuff like that. I can't say for sure whether they'll allow us to install a heat pump and a new boiler to replace an existing one and back up. We'll just have to see how that shakes out. But we're proposing it anyway because it's
Some of the recommendation was that they needed a backup boiler. And, yeah, so we put the heat pump system in, they recommended that.
They generally recommend in Vermont, especially for insurance requirements and on older buildings in particular, that you have some kind of backup that's not a heat pump. Whether it be wood or gas or whatever. In this case, it's just the replacement for the existing boiler.
It sounds great. What's not to love about this situation?
Yeah, there's no catch really. If there is one, it'll be in the grant agreement that you'll have in front of you to sign, hopefully 6 weeks from now.
That's awesome.
They're trying to move very quickly. The state has indicated that really their main concern at this point, because the ARPA money expires on December 31st, their main concern is getting the money spent.
yeah,
And so I intend to use that to your advantage and to all of our towns' advantages that qualify. So we're asking for just as much as possible without going over that limit that would cause a match requirement.
When you say all weatherization recommendations, what are those?
So those are itemized in the actual report. I just didn't want to write them out here. For the Academy building, those are, since it's only $5,200, they're relatively minor. I think they went in with infrared cameras during the audit and found some spotty areas that didn't have insulation or had air leakage and stuff like that. So that's all really minor stuff for the Academy. Just doing spray foam, using the small canisters, and some insulation bats were needed. For the garage, it's a lot more expensive. So I think that is at, what is it, $63,000. So yeah, I think it's really just insulating the entire shell of the building more or less from the inside.
So the Academy, the windows are okay?
They said yes, yeah, I'd love to replace them, but
Seriously?
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird sort of conflict with how this program works, that, normally energy auditors are all based on return on investment and what makes the most sense financially. In this case, when you're kind of playing with free money, that doesn't necessarily translate, if you know what I mean. So yeah, in the reports, they just say that full on replacing the windows, which especially in a historic building and when they're custom sizes and stuff like that, is just not worth the return on investment, but they may or may not have said some stuff about redoing weather stripping and sealing around the windows. I'm not sure. If everybody was-
Much, it was just around the door a little bit, and that was,
Yeah.
I was really surprised at, but most of the air leakage was, it was only got, I think, 6 inches of insulation in the attic. That was.
Really?
Is that all?
Yeah, that's it.
Did you do a blower door?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, I did blow testing, so I was surprised, and the leaks is around the base of the building, needs to be caulked around where the heaters are. But it's just minor, I was really surprised.
Yeah.
What little leakage there was in that building.
Wow.
Yeah, the cost benefit thing with windows is if you just have a normal like single hung window, it's like an R value of 1 or whatever. If you get an ultra modern, triple glazed insulated window, it's only gonna get you up to like R4 for an attic, attic insulation is like R49 or something
Yeah,
like
I'm
that.
surprised,
So,
only 6 inches.
So do you have to bring up the current energy standards? Like
The
if it's
commercial energy
6,
standards?
and it needs to be 49 or higher.
that is a specific question I don't know the answer to. I mean, it all just depends on the requirements of what's in the CDs, like what amount of work triggers the need for that type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Should be explicit about that in the grant agreement, and whatever contractor you prefer for this should know.
Yeah.
For sure, but I can't answer that for sure right now.
And the EV chargers, are those gonna be open to the public, or what's
That's
the,
something we have to decide on.
okay,
Those are for your car.
Yeah.
yeah,
So it'll be a meter thing.
Have to decide on that, that's
Yeah.
something that I think I don't know. But they're in the grants, I thought it was a good time for them.
sure. 4 more chargers in town,
Yeah.
4 more chargers.
Those are at the town garage or?
2 at the garage, and 2 at the academy building.
So future proofing you for any light duty vehicles that you might want to electrify for the town, and then also public access of the academy building maybe. So, yeah. It's a very quick turnaround, like I said, so it's due on the 20th, the application is, again, I can do it for you. And they're supposed to be getting the award notices out by October 8th.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, do the work.
yeah.
Go home and do it.
It's not just that they have to award these before December 31st, they have to be under contract by December 31st, so that they have to be fully executed grant agreements by December 31st.
Now you
So
know.
they-
I was such a
they've got-
good-
Yeah,
Wait, oh, okay.
yeah, everything must go, all the money must be.
Not that it's gonna be
Do you have contract?
completed, it's just
No.
gonna be under contract.
Yeah, so that's a good point as well. The term, the ARPA deadline is that the project has to be complete, the funds has to be expended by the end of calendar year 26.
Oh,
Okay.
December 31st, 26.
yeah,
We have to be under contract, but I've got a couple of people already. I've got them on the queue,
Good.
Okay,
and if you approve this, I'll work a little harder at it.
I got
And Two Rivers, we
somebody-
also have like formula funding to help you write an RFP and issue and everything, so. We will not be managing the actual project, but as you'll see, each of these has a markup for soft costs, so that includes architecture and engineering and also project management. So there's project management money baked into this. Where, the professionals that you bring in will have money to manage their own project, so. Should be low hassle for.
and you say professionals, please don't gesture.
He's a button pusher.
He doesn't qualify either.
So you need a motion to proceed?
It doesn't have to be formal, but yeah, it's probably best for.
I'll make the motion that we proceed with the energy audit program.
I'll second that.
Second, okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Excellent.
Aye.
Thank you.
are there any programs coming up that are directly for people, since we're in such a deficit, for real people, not just municipalities? Since we're such a high deficit or yeah, high spending
Yeah,
area? Is there anything for public that can get used?
well, we're still waiting on some money from the Inflation Reduction Act that is aimed directly at households to roll out. So there are a couple of new weatherization and electrification programs through the IRA that, when did that law happen? 2 or 3 years ago at this point. We're still waiting for those programs in Vermont to roll out. It's probably called the HOMES program, HOMES, and the HEARS program, HEARS. And those are supposed to be, I think, up to $14,000 for weatherization projects, kind of on a sliding scale where those most in need can get the highest percentage of their project paid back. So I think very low income people can get 100% of the project covered, and so on and so forth as you go up the income ladder. Supposedly those are supposed to be rolling out this winter or early next year. Not really in time for this heating season, but yeah, I have a whole guide actually on our website that I can send to you all. I'll send you the energy burden report and then also send you a link to this. It's a guide that breaks down all the incentives that are out there right now for individuals and households.
Yeah.
One thing to know is that I think the EV incentives are, the funding is expiring for that at the end of December. So if anyone's looking for a new car, the state EV incentives are probably gonna start to lose their funding early next year. So that's probably something to know as well for locals in general. The federal tax credit should still be available for many years, but the Vermont programs, unless they inject some new funding in it, I think are scheduled to run out.
Is there any money available, because we're gonna do the sidewalk project in Fairly Green, like downtown, and for charging, we thought maybe we could.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Charging stations then.
Yeah, there was some one-time funding last summer for kind of what they call public attractions, so just general public EV chargers to go out on the green or what have you. That window has passed for that. It's possible that there was some new funding in the transportation bill for funding EV chargers at workplaces and multifamily housing, which just got injected with some new funding in the FY25 transportation bill. So there's always a chance that in the next legislative session, they can re-up and supply some more funding for the public segment of that. But not right now, no. There's always tax credits and that type of thing, but not a lot of big grant programs. But I digress.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks. I'll get replied and send them along.
Awesome.
Here's what I want.
Bye, Carol.
Bye-bye, thank you.
We gotta go to, we have to go to Rita.
We gotta go read it.
Oh my god.
Watch it. I'm just asking for 2 things. I'm asking permission to pursue increasing our credit limit on our MasterCard. Right now, the limit is 5,000. And we've reached that twice in the last 4 months. So I'd like to see if we can increase it to 10,000. I don't know if it's a problem with the mail, because I have to wait until they process the check before I can continue ordering, or we get declined.
I was wondering if it made any sense to split the departments up rather than have everybody on the same card. Would that just add more to your headache, or would there be any advantage to doing it that? Because then you could have your credit limit could be on individual departments rather than everybody combined.
You would have to complete an application for each individual department utilizing a different bank.
Yeah,
Otherwise, if they issue multiple cards, it all goes to the same credit limit, and then you just have a bunch of physical cards to keep track of.
Okay, so
Okay,
that wouldn't be any advantage. Well,
I mean, is it a problem going to a different bank?
I don't think it's worth the hassle.
No, yeah.
well, my second request is to let me also open an Amazon account. So that we have that backup. Plus, when I dispute a charge on MasterCard, they shut it down. And until that dispute is settled, we can't charge. So I would like to have 2 cards available. You know, people have their budgets. If they want to buy something, they should be able to buy something.
I agree with that.
So if you got a second card that was also 5,000, would that solve the problem, Rita?
Well, yeah, I think it would. Yes, it would. And plus, Amazon get cash back. Yeah, I mean,
Nothing to offer here. I don't.
So we
Sounds
need
good,
to
right?
authorize Rita to apply for the Amazon card. Is that what you want?
that
Oh,
would work. I
Okay.
still think it would be wise to have, yeah, that would work.
Well, I think this sounds reasonable. As long as everything. Any concerns?
Right.
No, I mean, they're spending money that's already in their budget. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of how they're able to spend it.
And we have a series of checks and balances. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
We always have a series of checks and balances.
Yeah, because it's still coming through here every single time.
It sounds like you're planning to go somewhere.
And you're not taking anybody else.
Yeah.
It's only $5,000.
I have to take into consideration that Loretta is planning another trip.
Yeah.
And I don't want her charges to get declined again.
Oh,
Oh, well, we
She
don't
had
want
to
that.
use her own card.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Let me make a motion.
I'll
Yeah,
make
I
a
was-
motion, we authorize Rita, her to get an Amazon card for $5,000.
I'll second that
Yeah.
motion.
And that would take care of the problem.
I think it will. If it doesn't, I'll come back.
Only one request per year. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion to,
Aye.
I,
I guess so.
all right. So if you guys have it. See you
Thank
next
you,
year.
thank you.
You're welcome.
here, Rita.
See you out of here.
Sorry, you should have said next fiscal year.
Yeah.
No, the federal fiscal year.
We need, what's the road
Okay.
health officer?
So we're missing the health officer and
We've approved the warrants.
transportation's done.
You did?
Ooh, do you know what's up with the health officer? Is Dave coming or?
I
Somebody
thought
else?
he was going from one meeting to another, but
Okay.
perhaps he is not.
Could
I
still be
haven't
coming.
talked to him in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, he could still be on his way.
Really though, he was just looking for, permission, or I guess the select board's endorsement to send a letter to a property owner that is in violation of the public health and safety nuisance ordinance. Because there's an issue going on somewhere in town that he's looking to start rectifying, and just make that initial contact to say, there is an ordinance, here's the issues, here's how you can get a hold of us.
He needs permission
fair?
for this? He
Or,
needs
Does he
permission
need
for
a
that?
motion for this?
To do that every time.
I believe he would like the letter to come like from my office, from the select board, as
Uh,
a versus a health officer.
So they come to you with the gun, so, rather than him, yeah.
Well, because then they know who they can come
Yeah.
and talk to if
Yeah.
they have issues and that sort of thing. It's up to the select board too.
Well, I guess
Okay.
I'd like to know where it is, because I'd like to know what I'm sending a letter about.
Well,
Is that,
that seems
Does
reasonable.
this need to be executive session
is
or?
that private or?
I mean, the nuisance order is pretty cut and dry. Have you read it? Are you aware of it?
Have we got an
The
email?
new- no,
No.
There's various categories though.
yeah, there are various categories, but. It's an ordinance, I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I'm curious about what the specific. Wait.
I think it would be an executive session, because it
Okay,
could be
yeah,
a name
that's
or
fine.
address.
Well,
That's fine, but I'd like to know.
We have a,
We have an executive session plan,
Yep.
so
we got one
we can
coming up.
answer that question, take care of that. At that time.
Approval of minutes.
Approval minutes. Can someone,
I'll make a motion to approve our minutes from the last meeting.
I'll second it.
any discussion on the minutes?
No.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any other business? Old business?
I'm anticipating I'm gonna close the door. And get it. Okay. Your motion to go into executive session
I'll make a motion to go to executive session to
for,
personnel matters.
and invite
Invite Loretta and
Victoria.
Victoria.
I will second that motion.
We should have come from you.
That's okay.
I think we should leave now out.
That's.
That's fine with me. Is that what you can say?
I think we got that.
Hold on, let me finish. Securing your meeting.
Who was the desktop up there? That Joe?
Let's read it.
Yeah, no, it's okay. All right, recording is back on, Tim. I'd like to make a motion. That we terminate Officer Jacob Oliver's employment with the Royalton Police Department. Effective immediately.
Second,
Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion as read,
Hi.
aye.
any opposed? The ayes have it.
Other business?
We need to circle back to the health officer.
He's not here, so
Do we want to let him have that letter that he wants to write,
Yeah, we could.
that we just talked
we could-
about?
Yeah, I mean, we could approve something from our office or our,
standard form letter of
yeah,
your,
yeah, compliance with it.
Out of compliance with the ordinance.
Yeah. I don't know,
you okay with that, Victoria? Or do you need
I don't-
more?
That's fine.
I don't know what penalties, I don't know what's, like, I think it's
Okay.
gonna probably trigger fairly softly and then ramp up. That would be my guess.
Well, I think the first thing is a warning.
I make a motion that we allow our health officer to send a letter to the,
Well, it's coming from the select board.
For health officer's recommendation.
Following the health officer's recommendation.
We have a second.
Second,
Any more discussion?
Did you get that okay?
All those in favor of the motion for?
Aye.
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 Aye, any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Any other business?
Friendly reminder that you still have staff reviews and raises.
Right.
Yeah.
That are later.
Well, for, sake of maybe getting out of here a little earlier tonight, we'll put that off for another meeting.
Can we resolve that next meeting?
I think we need to.
Is it something that we can accomplish in 10 minutes?
No,
I don't think so.
I think we do them better service if we wait until next week.
How much time would you guys like that I can work on setting your agenda in a way that will,
Probably half an hour.
If we could have the agenda structured so that we went into executive session at 8 instead of 8:30. Does that make sense for next meeting? Cause that way we
Yeah.
can devote
Yeah.
the proper time to it and still not be here until.
Yeah.
And not have any like Debbie Downer stuff beforehand?
Plus, I think we're also not doing them a service if we're here till 9:30 talking about it. Because everybody's anxious and tired.
Jerry Barstow would always say, I'm turning into a pumpkin about now. Kind of like that.
Okay, well,
Make the motion with him.
I will second that motion.
all those in favor, say aye.
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 Thanks for dealing with the police stuff.
You're very
a little messy.
Yeah.
Horrible.